Hey everyone, what's going on? If you're new to the channel, you'll have to check out some links in the description because what I'm going to talk about in this video is a continuation of things that I've been talking about for a number of years. And a big thing that I've been talking about in the past year is how there's a James Bond theme that is going on and how it's synced up to the Batman shooting that happened in 2012 on the anniversary of the moon landing. And James Bond synced up to that. And then we had Jeff Bezos. He bought MGM, and MGM is what makes the James Bond films. And in this video, I talked about how it's synced up to a lion theme as well because MGM has the lion logo. And in 2017, when we had that great American eclipse, and think about that with the moon and space and so on, we got the death of Chester Bennington on Chris Cornell's birthday. Of course, Chris Cornell was the lead singer of the band Soundgarden that has a song called Black Hole Sun, reminding us of an eclipse. But Chester Bennington died on Chris Cornell's birthday, which was on the anniversary of the moon landing. And Chris Cornell just so happened to die at the MGM Grand Hotel in Detroit. And of course, the logo for MGM is the lion, and Detroit is where the Lions play. And I made a blog post and I talked about the Detroit Lions and how this hotel even opened on July 29th, which is the anniversary of NASA. And it also just so happens to be International Tiger Day. And of course, Tiger King was really important in the last year or so. And they're even going to come out with a Tiger King Part 2 next year. And if you go back and watch my videos about Tiger King, it was all about the number 22. So next year will be the year 22 and so on. And, I just want to point out, I even talked about the Detroit Lions and how the Detroit Lions are important to this narrative. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because we recently had this story of Justin Tucker. If I can find it here, I might have closed out of it, but the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens, he just set the NFL record for the longest field goal kick. And he did it at 66 yards, and he did it against the Detroit Lions of all teams, right? And this is even more important because the Baltimore Ravens were the team who went on to win the Super Bowl just after that 2012 Batman shooting, right? And in that Batman movie, there's even a scene where the football stadium blows up and the team that kicks the ball off looks a lot like the Baltimore Ravens, and the guy who kicks the ball, his last name is Ravenstall. And then, of course, they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, or a team that looked like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it had Hines Ward, the Pittsburgh Steeler player, run the ball all the way back, and he wore the number 86, and in this language of gematria, if you write out Aurora, Colorado, it equals 86, and the shooter was James Egan Holmes, that equals 86, and, Christian Bale was the Batman in that movie, Christian Bale equals 86, and Bane is the character in the movie who blows up the football stadium, Bane equals 86, and I've been talking a lot about this date, August 6th of 2022, and how it's synced up to the Chinese Tiger Year, because next year is the year of the tiger in China. And, think about Tiger King, and Tiger King is synced up to the number 22, right? I should also point out, too, that the word Skyfall equals 86. And in the previews of that Batman shooting, there was a preview for the James Bond film called Skyfall. And in that movie, in that preview, they showed a building in China. Think about the Chinese Tiger Year. But they showed a building in China that had the word Aurora written on it in big red letters, Aurora. And then that movie started, and then James Egan Holmes supposedly shot up Aurora, Colorado at the midnight showing of that movie. And the James Bond film foreshadowed Aurora, right? And notice, like I said, Skyfall equals 86. And I'm just bringing this up because, like I said, I've been following this date, August 6th, 2022. It's the day that Tisha B'Av begins, which is important to 9/11 and August 6th is also the day that World Trade Center construction began, and a whole lot of other things. But let's go back and look at this story about Justin Tucker. So Justin Tucker, he kicks the 66-yard field goal, and now he has the NFL record for the longest field goal at 66 yards. And he did this against the Detroit Lions. And if you write out Lions in gematria, it equals 66. And he plays for the Baltimore Ravens. If you write out Baltimore Ravens just so happens to equal 86 or 66, right? And what's even more interesting is that the guy that he beat, so he beat out Matt Prater for the longest field goal. Matt Prater set the record in 2013, just after the Ravens won the Super Bowl, right? So the next season, Matt Prater, he sets the new record at 64 yards when he played for the Denver Broncos, who equals 64. But Matt Prater is also, if you look at Matt Prater, he is known a lot for playing for the Detroit Lions. He even played for them, from 2014 until 2020. So now he plays for the Arizona Cardinals. And the same day that Justin Tucker breaks this record against the Detroit Lions, Matt Prater's former team, Matt Prater tries to break a new record, breaks his own record, and he ends up kicking it into the end zone. And then this guy, Jamal Agnew of the Jacksonville Jaguars, runs it back for 109 yards. And, what are the odds of this, right? The guy who holds the record for field goal kicks, he kicks it into the end zone, and he doesn't go in, and this guy runs it all the way back for a 109-yard field goal return, right? And then the same day, some other guy breaks his record, right? And he gets a 66-yard field goal. And, and the team that he plays for is 66, and he beats the Lions that equals 66. But notice that Matt Prater also equals 66. And Matt Prater just did this kick against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars also equals 66. I mean, this is a lot of 66s here, right? Let's just break it down one more time. Justin Tucker gets the 66-yard field goal to beat Matt Prater's record. Matt Prater equals 66. He does it against the Lions. Lions equals 66. He plays for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens equals 66. And the guy who even ran it back, look at this. The guy who even ran back the touchdown here, or that field goal, Jamal Agnew, he played for the Detroit Lions until this year. So that means he was even a teammate of Matt Prater last year, right? And before Matt Prater actually broke the record of this guy who has like one of the most famous, it's one of the most famous stories because he had the record for the longest field goal for, a number of years. And he only has like half a foot and like half a hand or something, and he kicked a 63-yard field goal. But notice this guy did it back in 1970, November 8th, 1970. And he played for the Saints, and he did it against the Detroit Lions, of all teams, right? And what's interesting is when Matt Prater broke his record, this guy, Tom Dempsey, was 66 years old. Tom Dempsey, Matt Prater, who equals 66, he breaks Tom Dempsey's record when Tom Dempsey is 66 years old. And, right here, Tom Dempsey, 66 years old. And further, when Matt Prater, or Tom Dempsey, when he made that field goal, it was November 8th, 1970. It was 66 days before his birthday. So Tom Dempsey had the original record there at 63, and he made that field goal 66 days before his birthday. And then Matt Prater breaks his record when Tom Dempsey's 66 years old. I mean, this is insane, And Justin Tucker, he just broke Matt Prater's record 3 months and 17 days before Tom Dempsey's birthday, or what would have been his birthday. And that's interesting because the 66 prime number is 317. So when you go and look up Matt Prater here, so he played for the Detroit Lions last year, and he played for them for a number of years. And then the guy who runs the ball back also played for the Lions with him last year. But notice Matt Prater's birthday is August 10th. And this stands out to me right away because a lot of the stuff I was talking about with this August 6th date is how it's Tisha B'Av And it's synced up to the year 2019 when Tisha B'Av began on August 10th. And August 10th, because of this, I know that August 10th just so happens to be World Lion Day. And what's interesting about this even more is that this celebration was actually created by Big Cat Rescue, and that is the company that Carol Baskin owns from Tiger King. And if you look up Carol Baskin, her birthday is 6/6, like 66. And even more so, her birthday is 66 days before August 10th, World Lion Day. What are the odds of this, right? it's just it's just insane. So I'm going to keep an eye on Tampa Bay again, obviously, because Tampa Bay was synced up to this, and Big Cat Rescues in Tampa, Florida, and this lady's husband who went missing, he went missing in Tampa, and that was the same. They went on to win the Super Bowl after that guy was declared dead in 2002, like a 22, and a whole lot more, but just had to point this out. What are the odds? Her birthday's 6/6, and her birthday's 66 days before Matt Prater's birthday on World Lion Day. Also in relation to Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers and so on, it's interesting because remember when Matthew Stafford, he got traded to the Rams, right? Let me go back here. Matthew Stafford was traded for Jared Goff, right, to the Rams. So he left the Detroit Lions to the Rams. And this was all about Super Bowl 55 and so on, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And whatever, because it was Matthew Stafford's birthday just so happened to be the same day as the Super Bowl, of Super Bowl 55 that Tampa Bay beat the Chiefs in. And it was his birthday even, right? And he's from Tampa, Florida, right? So Matthew Stafford is from Tampa, Florida. And we get this trade just before Super Bowl 55. And, Los Angeles Rams even equal 317 in the Francis Bacon ciphers, the 66 prime number. And the Francis Bacon ciphers are really important too, because let me pull them up really quick. But the Super Bowl is actually going to be held where the Los Angeles Rams play this year, which is the SoFi Stadium. But I'm bringing this up because Los Angeles equals 213, and the Super Bowl is going to be held on 213. And this number 109 is interesting because Tampa Bay Buccaneers equal 109, and Ravens also equal 109. And they had that 109-yard run back. Also, what's The Dark Knight Rises, right? The film that got shot up, that equals 109. The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises equals 310, which is this big number I was following with World Lion Day and the lion symbolism. And, that all of that symbolism stemmed back to when the Rams lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, too. In Super Bowl 53, right? So it was all synced up. And Los Angeles, of course, equals 53. That's why they were in Super Bowl 53. And there was, the 53-year-old. I can't even remember it all. I just remember, like, a bunch of the scores. It was like a 53-yard run on the score, and the 53-year-old ref, and his name equaled 53, and so on. But that was really important, too. The Ethiopian airline crash that happened on the date 3/10, and that was synced up to the Lion of the tribe of Judah, which is part of the reason how I discovered that August 10th, the upcoming Tisha B'Av, was on World Lion Day, and, a whole bunch of stuff. So the lion symbolism is very, very important to what I've been following here, right? But I just wanted to point out, so this trade with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, it was all synced up to the Super Bowl, though, right? He went to the Los Angeles Rams, and Jared Goff got traded 257 days before or after his birthday, and his full name equals 257, which is the 55th prime number, and it was Super Bowl 55. Matthew Stafford equals the same as Buccaneers and same as Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was born in Tampa, and the Super Bowl was on his birthday. So there's something important to how that syncs up, right? And Tiger King, I guess, it's not all about tigers. It's something to do with cats in general. So, but it's interesting. This year is going to be the, international or the Chinese Year of the Tiger. International Tiger Day falls on the same day as NASA's anniversary, and then we got World Lion Day that happens during the time of Leo in astrology, and Leo is a lion. That's why Obama joked that he was the Lion King, because Obama's birthday is August 4th, which is, during the time of Leo. Haile Selassie, the lion of the tribe of Judah in Ethiopia, his birthday just happens to be the first day of Leo. That's why he's the lion of the tribe of Judah. There's a whole lot more that goes into that, such as Michael Jordan's father and a whole bunch of stuff, but I will skip over that. But Michael Jordan will be 59 years old this coming year, and the word tiger equals 59. And so will Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. Sorry, I'm just thinking here, but Joe Exotic, he will be 59 years old in this coming year during the Chinese Year of the Tiger. He's going to turn 59 years old, and the word tiger equals 59. Think about, the Tigers in Detroit, the Detroit Tigers baseball team, right? So, Tigers, Lions. Interestingly enough, when you think about this, Lions, Tigers, and Bears even, the Bears won the 1985 season Super Bowl, which is the 66th season of the NFL too. Lions, Tigers, and Bears. So, but anyway, let's go back to this post here. Trying not to get off topic, but there's so much to talk about. So, another interesting thing with this, how it syncs up to the Lions, is that, and Batman as well, is that Justin Tucker made this 66-yard field goal, and his team went on to beat the Detroit Lions 19-17. And if you look up Tom Dempsey, when he broke the record back in 1970, his Saints team went on to beat the Detroit Lions 19-17, right? A score of 19-17. And of course, the Super Bowl that had the blackout was where the Baltimore Ravens won just after the Batman shooting. That was in the Saints stadium even, right? So that was where the Saints play. And the Saints also equal 19 in gematria. And this stands out to me a little bit because I'm thinking about the year 19 and how that was synced up to World Lion Day, which was Matt Prater's birthday and so on. But even more so is that there's this new Batman movie coming out, right? Called The Batman, and it comes out on March 4th, 2022, which is 19 days after the Super Bowl this year. And remember, the Super Bowl's held in Los Angeles at the Rams Stadium. And even more so in regards to the Ravens, right? This movie's coming out on 3/4. When the Ravens won the Super Bowl after the Batman shooting in 2012, that Super Bowl was held on the 34th day of the year, and the Ravens won with 34 points, and Ravens equal 34, and Joe Flacco, I believe, he was the MVP. His name equals 34. And they even gave him a contract after that on the date 3/4, and it was like the biggest contract ever at the time. And when the power went out in that game, right? The power went out, and the total score was even 34, and they said that the power was out for 34 minutes. And it was also called the Harbowl because it was John Harbaugh versus Jim Harbaugh, and Harbowl equals 34. So it was all about 34. So it's interesting this Batman movie is going to be coming out on 3/4. Something I've talked about a whole lot. So it's also interesting if you go from the date of this kick to Matt Prater's birth, or to Justin Tucker's birthday, it's 56 days. And if you go from the date of this kick to the Batman movie coming out, it's 5 months and 6 days. And then it's Super Bowl 56, right? Of course, 56 is important to coronavirus. But if you've been following what I've been saying a lot, I've been talking a lot about these things that are coming up from 2015. And a big thing I talked about in 2015 was the number 56, like crazy. And that I thought the Chiefs were going to win that year because it was going to be Super Bowl 50 and Chiefs equal 50 and so on. And then they ended up winning the 50th modern era Super Bowl and whatever. But the number 56 was important to the Chiefs that year because it was like their 56th season, and can't remember it all, but I know that number was really important to what was going on with the narrative. So 56, Super Bowl 56. We also just had that Nevermind Baby, the Nirvana Nevermind Baby. And I should go back and look. I know I made a big blog post about that, but the word baby equals 30, just like lions, just like the Batman. And this is important because in the preview of this movie, of the Batman movie, they used the Nirvana song that is on Nevermind called Something in the Way. So I feel like that's probably related. Plus, we just got the story of Gabby Petito and how Gabby Petito was on a video about Sandy Hook and whatever. And Sandy Hook, of course, happened just after the Batman shooting. And in that Batman movie, they even pointed to Sandy Hook on a map. And it used to say South Hinkley, and they changed it to Sandy Hook, and then they pointed at it. Then we had Hurricane Sandy in New York, right? Just before Sandy Hook, and then the Sandy Hook kids sang at the Super Bowl and whatnot. Just like how there was a kid singing at the Super Bowl in the Batman movie. I've also mentioned a lot about, in regards to Batman, in 2015, there was all of that Batman stuff. We had that train wreck shooting, which which is interesting too within that because I planned on making a video to this, but I'm probably not going to make one now. But last Friday, I wrote a big blog post. I want to make a video on this, but I wrote a big blog post about my book. It said that it was made in Middletown, Delaware, and it led me to the film Trainwreck again, something I talked about in 2015. And anyway, like the whole point was I even wrote, are we going to get a theater shooting, a train wreck, or a volcano eruption coming up? And I wrote this blog post on September 24th, and then on Saturday, September 25th, we got this Montana Amtrak derailment. You know, of all things, like what are the odds? I'm talking about how there's stuff synced up to, train derailments and the Philadelphia train wreck from 2015 and the movie Trainwreck. And then all of a sudden we get a train wreck. Then very next day. But it's important to a lot of things here. But I want to make another video, but I'll come back to it. But I just wanted to make a point. But a point of 2015. But 2015 was also when the movie Gone Girl came out with Ben Affleck, and we had that train wreck shooting that reminded us of the Batman shooting. And then the next month, like a week later, they sentenced James Holmes, and Morgan Freeman's granddaughter died, and the news outlets showed him and her at a premiere of the Batman movies. And then Donald Trump said he was Batman at the Iowa State Fair in a helicopter. Then we had a guy who dressed up like Batman who went around go to hospitals and whatever. He died. We also had the death of Yvonne Craig, who was Batgirl. But Donald Trump said he was Batman on Ben Affleck's birthday. And then that following year, after Super Bowl 50, which I have a whole bunch of videos talking about how it synced up to Batman, but that following year was when that Batman movie with Ben Affleck came out, right? So Donald Trump said he was Batman on Ben Affleck's birthday. And then less than a year later, the Batman movie with Ben Affleck came out. And that movie just so happened to be the movie that had Wonder Woman in it. It was the first live action movie with Wonder Woman in it. And if you go back to Christmas of last year, where there was the RV bombing, and I have a ton of videos on this and how it synced up to the Batman shooting and how it synced up to James Bond. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because the movie Wonder Woman 19 whatever it is, that came out on Christmas Day, the same day as the RV bombing, right? So I know there's a relationship to Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck is also in that movie with Morgan Freeman called The Sum of All Fears, where there's the bomb or whatever that blows up the stadium in Baltimore. And that movie is also a movie that involves the character of Jack Ryan. And then think about Sean Connery, who was Batman, or who was James Bond, and Sean Connery was in the movie called The Hunt for Red October, which is also a Jack Ryan movie, and then he dies on the very last day of October. And that RV bombing also had a major Quinn theme that was going on. And just before the RV bombing, the Lions fired their general manager named Bob Quinn. So there's definitely something very synced up to it, you know. And if you go from Matt Prater's birthday to Justin Tucker's birthday, it's 103 days. If you go from Justin Tucker's birthday to the Batman movie coming out, it's 103 days. And remember, Skyfall also equals 103. And Justin Paul Tucker equals 103, also 221. Aurora, Colorado equals 221. Batman equals 221. This is the big volcano number I followed too. Steelers also equal 103, and the Steelers, you know, are the team in the Batman movie where Hines Ward, number 86, runs the touchdown back or whatever. So there's just a lot to think about, but and to further even connect it, these Francis Bacon ciphers they work so well. But if you go from the date of this record break to Matt Prater's next birthday, it's 318 days, and Detroit Lions equals 318, and the Francis Bacon ciphers, and he's born on World Lion Day, and so on, right? And I believe their birthdays are even. If you go the other way, if you go from Justin Tucker's birthday to Matt Prater's birthday, it's 262 days, and in the Francis Bacon ciphers, I'm pretty sure, is it Justin Tucker equals 262? Or maybe it's Matt Prater, I can't remember, but it's one of them. Yeah, Matt Prater, 262, and his birthday is 262 days after Justin Tucker's birthday. And there's countless things here with the Francis Bacon ciphers. If you go from Justin Tucker broke this record 10 months and 5 days after his birthday, and Ravens equal 105, and Baltimore, Maryland equals 105. So hopefully this makes sense. But it's definitely connected to Batman, and it's connected to Tiger King. It's connected to all of these narratives that I've been following over the years. So, I know it's a lot to take in. You really have to go back and watch some of these other videos because it it is amazing how they're all like interrelated, how they all kind of it all kind of comes together. The lions are important to this theme. That's important to the space theme. That's important to James Bond. That's important to Batman. It's a giant narrative. But we'll leave it there. I think I covered everything. If not, I'll leave little notes or whatever. But have a good one. Peace.